So we're going to talk consonance and dissonance, so in a mathematical sense. But what you need to kind of understand is, in human terms, this is kind of a nebulous subject. What sounds good to me might not sound good to some other person or culture. Okay, different cultures have had different definitions of this. I'm pretty sure that Bob Dylan in general, okay, consonance is what sounds good, and dissonance is what sounds bad. Okay. Yeah, that's probably a good description of it too. But again, in the eye of the beholder, who defines what sounds good and what sounds bad? Okay. But like I said, we're going to attack it from a mathematical perspective, and hopefully it'll give you an idea of where you need to go with your project. Okay. Let's kind of review what we've done. Okay, the C chord has the notes C, E, and G in it, correct? All right. The function for the sound wave here okay. Does anybody have the E up in their brains on their papers anywhere? 330? Okay. And then what about the G? Anybody? Okay, so we've written all of our functions, right? Most people would say if you played a C on the piano or the guitar, it sounds good, okay? Just because of certain mathematical properties. So I've shown you the graphs, but let's look at them again. We'll pull up. Okay. So there's the C, comma, don't forget the X, and then again, you have to define your intervals here. I'm going to go to 0.05. This is I think it'll probably work. But I'm putting separate functions in on one coordinate axis. And I can see all three of them intersect here. Let me actually change that domain. Let's see if make it a little easier to see. 0.03. Ah, much better. Okay, you can actually see they intersect here. The sound waves are going different directions, but they do intersect there. And then here's where they really come together, and it's very obvious. Okay, so that's a very short interval of time, 0.015, that they're intersecting. All right, so that would be a great indicator of something that sounds good. In very short intervals, the sound waves are coming together. Okay, so there's our graphical representation, and we've been through that time and time again, so hopefully by now you're on top of that. You'll have two of those graphs in your report. Okay. Yeah, so basically you're going to put this graph on there and say the sound waves for the C, E, and G notes intersect at 0.015. Yeah. which is a very short time interval and indicates that the notes are in harmony, or they are consonant. Okay, so just one little sentence explanation of that. Okay. If you look at the rubric, so I've also asked you to use the frequency ratios to show that they're consonant. So this is a little bit, you have to fudge your math a little bit here. This is where you get a little bit of leeway. So if I'm going to show that the C and the E notes are consonant, basically, I'm going to show the ratio of the frequencies reduces to single-digit values. Okay, so we need to reduce that fraction, and if it gets you like 4 over 5, or 9 over 8, or 2 over 1, then you're probably consonant. Okay. Give him a nudge. You awake? You look tired, man. We got 1 week. Hold yourselves together. We're holding ourselves together too. All right, so what can I divide both of these by? They're even numbers. Divide by 2. Very easy. So I get 131. 165. Is that right? I believe it is. Okay. Can I reduce that fraction? Probably not. Okay, so does that indicate those are consonant? Okay, this is where you kind of have to fudge your math a little bit. Can I reduce this? Yeah, it's pretty darn close, right? Yep. So divide by 5 maybe? Top and bottom. Here I divided by 2. What do I get? 30 what? Barely. Like I said, this is not an exact science. You got, like I said, you have to fudge your numbers a little bit sometimes. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, these don't reduce either. So I'm going to adjust just a little bit. See, but what you can see happened here, I reduced it, but I added it back in. So this is not how you've been taught to do math. No, not at all. But this is basically what we're looking at having to do. What's 27 over 33? 9 over 11. Is those single digits? No. No, it's not. But what about 9 over 12? Yeah. Yeah, 3 over 4. Okay, so.
Wow, that's a whole lot of BS.
That's some, yeah, like, it's a good word for it. It's a lot of BS. But, I mean, you can kind of see the justification behind it. You've taken a 1 out here. Here you've kind of added it back in. And you kind of took it out, and then you just let her be. But, so these ratio calculations are not perfect. Clearly.
Fractions were like this.
If fractions were like, hey, I could just throw whatever number I want on there, I'd be a pro at them, right? Okay, so you're going to have to kind of think your way through these a little more than you're used to reducing when you're reducing fractions. Okay, so that's how you show the consonant frequency. The frequency or the notes are consonant using the frequencies. They reduce to single digits. Okay. Yeah, and like I said, it's kind of a little manipulation. The graph is very straightforward, right? But
do this on our.
yeah, you're in your report. You have to show this.
How are we gonna do that?
Okay, so you would show C to E,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you would show the E to the G, and you would also do the C to the G.
And then I just like go from.
Basically, yeah, you take the frequencies
So I just go from the first one
and
all the way
reduce.
down to. So I go from 262 to 3/4.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And you don't, I mean, looking at this work,
So I have to put that in my report.
this is one of the bullet points in your report.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying all the work I can do.
I would take it just from top to bottom. And honestly, you could probably find some of this info online if you wanted to just pound the keys and type it in. Okay. I do.
Are we supposed to explain those ratios in any way?
Let's see, what is the, I didn't keep the rubric up. That was genius. Let me look at the rubric. Student explains why notes in each chord are in harmony using the ratios of the frequencies. So yeah, a sentence or two. You know, you could do all 6 of them and say, these notes are obviously in harmony with each other because the ratio is reduced to single-digit fractions. Done. Right? I don't know if I posted this website or not, but this is a kind of a decent explanation of this concept that I've shown you here. They use ratios instead of fractions. I prefer fractions because I'm a math guy, but this paragraph here is a good explanation of consonance and dissonance. Okay. So you can see the dissonant, how you can't really reduce them, but the consonant notes here have single-digit reductions. Okay. And you'll look at this site and it says 256 to 243 suggests dissonance. And I'm telling you, the ratios are kind of nebulous. They work for the notes that are in harmony. It's pretty straightforward, but you could probably manipulate just about anything you want to single-digit fractions doing what I showed you. Okay, so
like, since you can manipulate it like that, but what if you do that first without looking at the graph? Do you only add one and subtract one? You don't ever.
yeah, I wouldn't do more than that. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. I showed you this video to begin with. Do you want me to show you it again? That was the first video that we watched. Okay, if you want to watch it again, I'll play it. If you want to get started working on your project, go ahead. Okay?
It may sound like a paradox or some joke, but whatever it is, it's true. Beethoven, the composer of some of the most celebrated music in history, spent most of his career going deaf. So how was he still able to create such intricate and moving compositions? The answer lies in the patterns hidden beneath the beautiful sounds. Let's take a look at the famous Moonlight Sonata, which opens with a slow, steady stream of notes grouped into triplets. 1 and 2 and 3 and. But though they sound deceptively simple, each triplet contains an elegant melodic structure, revealing the fascinating relationship between music and math. Beethoven once said, "I always have a picture in my mind when composing, and follow its lines." Similarly, we can picture a standard piano octave consisting of 13 keys. each separated by a half step. A standard major or minor scale uses 8 of these keys, with 5 whole step intervals and 2 half step ones. And the first half of measure 50, for example, consists of 3 notes in D major, separated by intervals called thirds that skip over the next note in the scale. By stacking the scale's first, third, and fifth notes, D, F sharp, and A, we get a harmonic pattern known as a triad. But these aren't just arbitrary magic numbers. Rather, they represent the mathematical relationship between the pitch frequencies of different notes, which form a geometric series. If we begin with the note A3 at 220 Hertz, the series can be expressed with this equation, where n corresponds to successive notes on the keyboard. The D major triplet from the Moonlight Sonata uses n values 5, 9, and 12. And by plugging these into the function, we can graph the sine wave for each note, allowing us to see the patterns that Beethoven could not hear. When all 3 of the sine waves are graphed, they intersect at their starting point of 0, 0, and again at 0, 0.042. Within this span, the D goes through 2 full cycles, F sharp through 2.5, and A goes through 3. This pattern is known as consonance, which sounds naturally pleasant to our ears. But perhaps equally captivating is Beethoven's use of dissonance. Take a look at measures 52 through 54, which feature triplets containing the notes B and C. As their sign graphs show, the waves are largely out of sync, matching up rarely, if at all. And it is by contrasting this dissonance with the consonance of the D major triad in the preceding measures that Beethoven adds the unquantifiable elements of emotion and creativity to the certainty of mathematics, creating what Hector Berlioz described as one of those poems that human language does not know how to qualify. So although we can investigate the underlying mathematical patterns of musical pieces, it is yet to be discovered why certain sequences of these patterns strike the hearts of listeners in certain ways. And Beethoven's true genius lay not only in his ability to see the patterns without hearing the music, but to feel their effect. As James Sylvester wrote, may not music be described as the mathematics of the sense, mathematics as music of the reason? The musician feels mathematics. The mathematician thinks music.
No.
Music, the dream. Mathematics,
Thanks.
the working life.
Yep. All right.